Hello, hello, hello. Top of the morning, evening, afternoon, and good night to one and all. It is 11:30 Friday, July 18th. Oh man, I told myself that I was not gonna get involved with this. It's just it seems like just this round robin thing, and I guess I'm just kind of feeding into it because it's all over my YouTube feed. And well, of course, I am going to dig into it. I'm going to dig into it so much that I'm going to share a video with you, which let me give credit to the individual that made it. His name is Voidzilla. Now, basically what he did was he made a compilation of a bunch of different clips of what people said before and what people are saying now. And I think that this is important because I feel like Donald Trump is lying, and he's lying through his teeth. And the problem is that this is snowballing, and it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And when someone lies like this, it makes me believe that obviously you have something to hide. You don't want to get out. Whether that is you're on the list, someone you know is on the list, you have the power to release the list. Oh, when I'm saying the list, I'm talking about basically the names of the people that flew on the plane, that attended the island. And it seems like there's some really, really solid points here, man. Like, I don't want to take the credit away from the individual that says it, but I think it's so fascinating that if a man has an island, right, and on this island, rich people go to. We're not going to talk about what's done on the island, right? You weren't born yesterday, so you already know what happened on the island. And how come only 2 people were charged with the crimes? 2. Obviously, people flew there. We know that people have been there, but only 2 people, right? One is no longer with us. The other one is locked up. Where's everybody else? Like, legit question is, why was nobody else charged? So you could use the argument and say, well, no one was charged because we didn't have a list. Well, then are you just looking at pictures of people that Epstein hung out with, and then you were like, yeah, let's charge that person? Or were you like, this is a good fallback person? We pay this person enough of money, or we threaten them enough, and they don't say anything. Because clearly there's something going on. And I get the argument that the Democrats are pushing this, the woke is pushing this, but there's even a lot of people that were with MAGA or supported Donald Trump that no longer do. Because it's a bad look. I'm going to be the guy that I'm not really swaying my opinion to not like him, right? He is the president of the United States, so I'm going to support whatever his decision is. However, I will say this, that if something does come out that my main argument is if you were never there, right? Fine. Then just say, or you were never there, or there is no such thing as this list of names, then just say there's no list, right? Trump never says that. The Attorney General does, but just say that. The problem is if somewhere down the line, this list of names comes out, oh, well, you have a whole nother set of problems. So let me just share this with you. I think it's really, really fascinating. Let's do this. Again, this is not my video. This is a montage, if you will, from Voidzilla. It's really good.
Clinton. Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list.
Now, this is important right here. You see this guy on the right, right? So the guy on the right, this blows my mind. You take the dude on the right, it's Kash Patel. That is the FBI director now. He had a YouTube channel. He was also, I think he was an attorney or something at some point, or a paralegal, or I don't know, public defender. He was something. So he had a YouTube channel. Boom, you're part of the FBI. Now it's important because I want you to listen to what he says. And then you're going to see this other guy, Robert I want to say DiGiorno, but that's a pizza you buy frozen. That's not it. You're also going to listen to his before and after. When I'm saying before and after, before they worked for the FBI, and then after or during while they're working for the FBI. It's so fascinating how these stories and all the information and intel that they had has now changed. All right, let's get it.
They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
You know, Epstein's an
This guy, Dan Bongino. Wow, I said DiGiorno. You can see how I would mix those two together. Again, before becoming FBI.
an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that. His plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense.
There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing.
Okay, see that right there, that's not that hard to believe, right? We're talking about 2019. Anything prior to, because he died in 2019. So anything prior to 2019, iPhones existed, right? We're not going back to the 90s where you got to get a camcorder, okay? Everything is recorded. So what about those people that are on that tape? Right? There's obviously there's people. What about those? I can't believe I'm getting involved in this, but what's the situation? Why is no one else that we know of getting charged with this?
And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it.
Would you?
There it is. Well, my thing is not no one wants to talk about it. It's why no one else is charged. You have the files, right? So why? Okay.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't
Yes, we've all seen this clip.
know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because it's a lot of...
Why would there be phony stuff in there? Why?
phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I...
Honestly, I don't know many people care about JFK. I'm not saying that that's a great situation. I don't think anybody cares, right? And clearly, you released all that stuff and it said nothing, so it got nowhere.
Do the others certainly about the way he died? It would be interesting to find out what happened there because that was a weird situation.
Let me take a time to pause that for a second. We're gonna go over here. You got that? How he died, right? Check it
That
out.
video released by the Justice Department showing the outside of Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell just hours before he was found dead has the world watching frame by frame. And one moment is certainly raising eyebrows. The footage cuts and the timestamp jumps a whole minute as questions of the so-called missing minutes spiral into full-blown conspiracy theories. And new reporting shows even more footage may be missing. So this headline from Wired reads, the FBI's Jeffrey Epstein prison video had nearly 3 minutes cut out. According to Wired, newly uncovered metadata reveals a 2-minute and 53-second chunk was removed from what the federal government called raw footage. So joining me live now is Drew Marotra.
So as a video editor myself, I didn't even think about this, right? Getting the original file. I don't know how they got that because obviously they compressed it again and then re-uploaded it. But if you have the original file, even if you don't have the original file, you could still look at, I want to say it's XVIF data on the inside, metadata inside of it, like a photo has it. This is crazy, though. This is wild.
An investigative data reporter for Wired. And the author of that piece, Drew, thanks for being here. First things first, how did you figure out about this missing chunk, and how was that video then edited?
Yeah, so on Monday, the DOJ and FBI released what it called raw surveillance footage from an area adjacent to the special housing unit where Jeffrey Epstein was found dead. And soon after they released the data, we downloaded the files that the DOJ released and looked into sort of the hidden information that's embedded in most digital files that can show you a bit about how and when something was created, edited, or saved. It's kind of like a video's digital paper trail. And in this case, the metadata showed the footage had been edited using Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a professional editing tool. And it was saved several times and stitched together from 2 separate clips.
All right, so you take that information, you see that. How does this help?
Let me pause that for a second. Again, as an editor, I'm speaking here. To modify the file, right, the time, and to do that in a 1-minute window, and it's 3 minutes, you would have to either A, create some type of overlay that matches that exact font in the bottom, or B, you would have to go in during the amount of time he says 2 minutes, he's going to say 2 minutes and 53 seconds, and then modify the time that is on the actual NVR within that 2 minutes and 53 seconds to now say 12 o'clock in the morning. You understand? I think it's that one. I don't think it's create an overlay for a different time. That is extremely difficult. Like the way that it's done in a minute. So, I mean, either way, both of them are. I guess the other one, 2 minutes and 53 seconds, that leaves more of a window, right? 60 seconds, we talked about this before, is not exactly. You could take somebody out in under 60 minutes. 60 minutes. Whew. You could take somebody out in under 60 seconds. Whether or not that happened there, I don't know. But if it's 2 minutes and 35, it doesn't even matter that someone did not take him out, right? Throw that out the window. Forget it. Doesn't matter. It's his own doing. Fine. Why delete it? If nobody is responsible for it, why would you go back in and edit it? Why? Because you have something to hide. Well, Department of Justice is looking at it. You have all these people looking at it. You know, you got people on Reddit, you got people everywhere. And they're all going to try to figure this out, right? Everybody's a detective online. So you don't need schooling, right? The 2 dudes that cracked the code of the Zodiac killer, you had the FBI working on that for like 40 years. Give it to 2 guys on Reddit. They're like, here, by the way, we figured that shit out last night while we were pooping. This is the answer. This is what happened. This is everything decoded. Wow. And that's exactly what's going to happen with this. This, however, is a different. This is a news platform, I guess, Wired, that figured this out. Okay, let's continue.
Help then piece together what happened in this case. So what are the new takeaways?
You can't, Spade, I thought about that. Spade said, cut the time from another day and put it in there. You can't, right? Because the date is the next day. So you would have to modify the time as it's happening to be that next day. For instance, I can't take tomorrow's footage because the 2 days from now footage, because the date would be different, right? It could be from another day, but then you would have to still go in and modify the time, right? You wouldn't be able to just cut it and then just say, oh, okay, this is from whatever, 5 days from now. You still have to modify that time because the garbage can's in that position, you know, whatever, the way that he was sitting. There's a lot that is off with that. I thought it was weird for being 60 seconds. I didn't think their answer was good as to why the 60 seconds was gone. Because anybody that knows me, I have either 16 or 20, 22 cameras around my house, and there is never a time where there's an update. And granted, my system is more modern than this, but there's never a time where there's a minute missing. It doesn't, you know.
Yeah, so the main findings from the piece and the analysis are basically that the quote unquote raw video was actually stitched together from two separate clips and exported multiple times over more than 3 hours on a single day in May. When we looked at the metadata from the source clips, we found that 2 minutes and 53 seconds were removed from one of the original files that they used.
Okay. That's a long time. 3 minutes? Again, that's saying one of the clips showed 2 minutes, 53 seconds. Why would you hide that? Legit. Why? And I want to point something out now that I'm thinking about this. For the DOJ to say that the 60-second clip, the reason why that is edited out is because, yeah, that doesn't make any sense now. Because you're saying that the system, for the last minute, does some type of, I don't remember what they said, but it's been doing it since the early 90s or late 90s. First off, let's be clear. You didn't have that system in the early 90s or late 90s. You could just throw that out the window. You know what kind of system you had in the early 90s or late 90s or early 2000s? Those big-ass camcorders that said, not even camcorders, video recorders on the outside of 7-Eleven. That's what you had. And that's not what this is, right? I could tell you by the timestamp. I could tell you by this kind of looks like a Lorex system. Lorex. Might not be. It's similar. But either way, the resolution of that changes. Remember I mentioned that a couple days back, that it went from rectangular or wide aspect to square. That was weird, especially in a minute update. That would not happen in any situation whatsoever. Right. And the fact that they knew that this happened every minute and you are a jail that has surveillance, you would have something on one of the screens that would say no data, camera feed bad, time bad. You'd have some, depending on the type of situation. Either way, 2 minutes and 53 seconds is a long ass time for something to be gone.
And that cut happens actually right before the now infamous missing minute, which is like a gap in footage that occurred from 11:59 p.m. on August 9th to midnight the following morning. And, you know, this doesn't just really undercut the claim that the DOJ has made that this video is raw and unedited, but it also potentially contradicts the DOJ's explanation that the missing minute was due to a routine system reset.
I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Routine system reset. So I feel like I should show you the back end of my old Rev system or my Lorex or my Ubiquity. You're not going, why would you reset your NVR every night at 11:59? Updates are usually 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's default. Obviously, you can modify that to be whatever, but why would you do it at that time? And it's just coincidence enough that that is when he was dead. Or 6 o'clock in the morning, he was found dead.
Because, you know...
Now, I will say this, though. That second clip where they show where they run up, I believe that is the second clip, right? You got people frantically moving around. I don't think I've shown that on the feed, but they, like, run over there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I believe that. That's real. I don't know from 11 p.m. on what is what anymore. I have no idea. Well, obviously, from 11:58 till whenever, till 12 o'clock, we don't know what that is.
You know, based on the original file that we're looking at, there appears to be footage that could cover the time frame in question.
So you're saying it's not raw, it's been edited.
That's what he said. I don't know why you have to confirm that, but okay.
Yes, it's very clearly been processed by powerful editing software.
So what are Trump officials then saying to questions about this discrepancy?
Yeah, you know, so far the Trump administration hasn't directly addressed the discrepancies that we reported. The DOJ referred our questions to the FBI. The FBI referred our questions back to the DOJ, and then eventually declined to comment. The administration originally.
This is what I'm saying. If why can't Trump forget the attorney general? I get her job is to protect, the highest cop, or lawyer. I'm sorry, the highest lawyer in America. Why can't she just say, "Hey man, you take it over"? And Trump just comes on camera and says, "I was not on the list." That's one. Or two, there is no list. Say that. Say that. Because Pam, no one's going to know who she is in 10 years from now. No one's going to give a shit. Right? Donald Trump? Yep. And I'm telling you, if this shit keeps going, regardless of who started this snowball, the fact that we're backtracking now, let's go back over here. The fact that we're backtracking now makes it even worse.
And the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera.
I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking ring.
Absolutely.
See, again, this is that Kash Patel guy that was saying that there is a list. Now, granted, he could just be like shooting, whatever, just talking shit, just because YouTube, whatever. I'll give him a pass for that. I'm not so much worried about this dude. I'm more worried about the other guy. But it's just so interesting to me.
Senator, child trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past.
Release the list. Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
That is the Vice President of the United States. So you're acknowledging that there is a list. You understand what I'm saying? Like, nobody here is picking us up. These are on small talk shows, too. This isn't like a major format.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting. This, I don't know what to make of this. I don't. I see her argument that.
On my desk right now to review. A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250.
Now, I know what she's going to say here. I haven't watched up to this part, but I know what she's going to say. She's going to say that there is other stuff she's redirecting, right? The question is about the list, right? She's talking about the victims. This is good tack, by the way. She's talking about the victims. That's not the question. The question is, when are you going to release the list, right? Not because she's going to use the argument that we have all this stuff and we don't want to release that. I think this is what she's going to do. We don't want to release that footage because nobody needs to see that. Nobody's asking for that, right? I don't think anybody wants to see. Well, the people on the list probably want to see it, but the better question is, you have the list, right? Simple question, simple answer. When are you going to do it? So all I need is a date. Ready? When are you going to release the list? That's it. Just answer that question. Just stop with everything else.
Actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected.
What does that have to do with the list? Nothing. Nothing. That has nothing to do with it. Just, I'll tell you what you do. Get a pen and paper, right? Go through it and write down the names and then just release that. It has nothing to do with the victims. I feel so bad for them, but it has nothing to do with them.
Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released.
Nobody wants information. Everybody wants the list of the names that flew on the plane. That's it. Just... Is this Prince Andrew dude, right? Is he still alive? I forgive my ignorance. Is he still alive? He was there, right? We can 100% confirm he was there. There was a picture that surfaced, and oh, wow, he was there. And, okay, that's definitely Prince Andrew. Someone go talk to him. So, hey, man, when you were there, when you flew there, who was on the plane with you? At least you get some other name. Myself. Really? There was no... What about the pilots? Who was on the plane? Who flew it? It was all automated, all AI. There was nobody. There's nobody on the plane. It was just me. No stewardess, no peanuts, no one handing out sodas, nobody. Just myself. Okay, there's one person you could... That Ghislaine Maxwell. Why isn't... Well, she's... I don't know that situation. That's... You notice how you haven't heard shit about that? Like she... Anybody know the story about this? So during this whole thing, she went to like a cabin in the middle of the woods, all infrastructure, internet, all that stuff, and they couldn't find her. And then you just found her. She showed up, like they went to in Maine or something. It was just, oh, there she is at the house. They were looking for her for like 2 years. Oh, we got her. It was real difficult. We just knocked on the door. She came out. We just put her in zip cuffs and took her away. A lot of people, hey, listen, we don't need you to show up dead, but we need you not to say nothing. And I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but this shit is getting out of control.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child.
What kind?
See, nobody is asking that. Nobody. That's a redirect. I'm what? Who said they want? I just want the list of the names. That's it. Anybody over the age of 18 and is a male. That's all that I want. Right? If you can't tell if it's a male or female, just exclude that from the list. Like, if they got a weird name, like Stevie, that could be, I don't know any billionaires named Stevie, but wing it. Just get 5 names. 3. Something other than those 2 and Andrew. Because I know there's something with Prince Andrew on there.
Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
See, that's the next thing. Where's that? That's probably the footage you don't need to see, right? That's fair.
Yeah, what you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well, we'll
along
look
with
for
his
that.
co-defendant.
Absolutely.
What about all the other people?
And he had help, that's for
He
sure.
sure did.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing.
See this right here. Okay. I don't even know who this person is. U.S. Attorney for New Jersey. Who cares?
Have flight logs. We have information, names that will.
Hold on. Let's go back. What did she say? We have flight logs?
Information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden. And
so was there this like collaborative effort where all these attorney generals have this information and they don't release it? You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to sign an NDA. You really don't need one. But if how many people are on these names on this list? How many people know? Because are these people all just talking shit? Because there's a lot of people that know, but no one can get them.
Kept secret and not been held accountable.
Flight logs tied to accused trafficker Jeffrey Epstein have been released to some conservative political commentators. They walked out of the White House holding binders labeled the Epstein files.
There was an expectation that this was going to be bigger. You had the same expectation.
We all did. And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m.
What's crazy, too, is it's not going to be just Republicans, right? When you look at this list of, if I had to assume there's going to be a lot of rich white Americans. I'm just, that all of us probably know 50% of. So, like Clinton, that was the whole thing with Epstein and Diane, that the Clintons were involved. So there's names across the board. It's bad. It's bad.
Thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course. And, you know, we're going to go through it as fast as we can, but go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims of Epstein.
Now, is that the only thing that would be redacted? Will everything else be made public?
It's always about protecting the victim. But you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know.
What we know is that this was a large network of high-profile, high-dollar predators who abused untold numbers of minors. Only one person has been prosecuted for these crimes, and that is Ghislaine Maxwell.
If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island, and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Did Jeffrey Epstein himself, or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their...
This is the same guy that was saying that it didn't. You saw the old clip, right, in the beginning. I don't need to play that back for you.
Opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a side when you see one, and that's what...
There's the other guy that had the YouTube that was saying that there's a list of names, there's something, and that, you know, he didn't take his own life.
That was.
He killed himself. You want me to... I've seen the whole file.
The Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that, and it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of...
I'll agree with all that. I absolutely will. No one's disagreeing with that. You have one huge problem in all of that. Just release the names. That's it. Nothing more. We know all the stuff that he did, or we have an idea of all the stuff that he did. Okay. That's done. Give us a name. Give us some names. Give the public some names.
Of political maneuvering and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them. And you're going to get the video of the cell. And you're going to see for yourself.
We do have video. It's not the greatest video in the world. I don't want to set expectations on fire. However, the video does show in that specific block that he goes in, made a phone call. You'll see 12 hours of guards going to basically check on him, come back. You'll see no one really comes out in that bay, in that area, than him. There's no one in there. When you combine that with the other evidence we will be releasing in the coming weeks, we're still finalizing some of the products. I think it's pretty clear.
Overnight, the FBI and Justice Department releasing 11 hours of footage they say helps confirm notorious financier Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in his Manhattan jail cell in 2019. But perhaps the biggest bombshell, investigators say they found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein...
Client list, there it is again.
Blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties.
Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure. If
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration.
This is
all I'm saying is I feel that there is there's obviously a list, right? There obviously is. There's obviously a bunch of names that no one wants to get out. We're going to try to keep this as low as profile as possible. I told myself I was not going to get involved with this, but here I am. If this list does exist, or if it does not exist, let's just assume for a moment that there is no such thing as this list. Fine. You have all this footage. Yes, recovered footage. She said it. She's made it very clear. She's never denied the fact that they don't have footage. With the technology that we have to, well, I don't know with Department of Justice, because I know they have the technology to do the same thing that Wire does, to where they can have, I don't know what you would call them, not decoders, but people that can look at footage and say, okay, this is missing out of this. Can't you just look at the footage of all the stuff, of all the people, and just, you'll recognize them. They're billionaires. Oh, that's this guy. Let's write his name down. Oh, that's this guy. Let's write his name down. Oh, that's this girl. Let's write her name down. And just go down the list and just make a list. You could do that. Do you want to? Probably not. But it's possible. Honestly, I don't think that there's any footage of Trump in doing anything stupid or illegal, probably, but like what Epstein did, no. I don't see that. That's not me taking a side. I don't see that. I do see that there are going to be some very, 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 very big names in there, and you need to protect whoever they are. And if Trump is saying that it's the Democrats that's starting all of this, there's Democrats that are in that. So kind of throws that right out the window. We'll be following up more. I'm sure I will cover this more. Me and Spade will be doing the realist. I don't know, Spade, are we doing it? Are we doing outside of society? I guess we could do it like now, time frame. It's like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we'll do it. So, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But this Sunday, we will be doing Outside of Society. So I will see everybody there on the YouTube. Other than that, you guys stay beautiful. Any future news, I'm sure I'll get and share with you.